Now let's talk about how you actually apply for TPS. The forms to be used can be found at the uscis.gov website, and the forms are the I-821 application for TPS and the I-765 application for work authorization. Now this is very important. Even if you don't want or qualify for the work authorization, you must submit the I-765. Otherwise, your overall TPS application will be rejected. Now let's go over some general do's and don'ts. First of all, do use the forms only from the uscis.gov website to ensure that you are using the correct version. Do read and follow all the form instructions that come with the forms. Do type or use the Adobe fillable forms. If you must handwrite the forms, your writing must be very clear and concise. Machines actually read these forms, and if the machine deems the form unreadable, your application will either be rejected or delayed. Do make sure all names, addresses, dates of birth, and A numbers, if applicable, match on all forms and all supporting documentation. Do make sure that all forms are signed. This is the number 2 reason for rejection by USCIS. Do also make sure you enclose the correct fee. This is the number 1 reason for rejection by the USCIS. And finally, don't lie on any forms. If you lie on these forms, you may later be accused of immigration fraud. Now let's go over some tips specific to the Form I-821. First of all, the fee is $50. And in Part 1, check Box A, which is, this is my first application to register for TPS. Enter your correct date of birth. And lastly, in Part 2, the word Haiti must appear in at least one of the following boxes: place of birth, country of residence, or country of citizenship/nationality. Now let's talk about some specific tips with regards to the I-765. Now the fee for the I-765 will be either $340 or $0. If you are under 14, over 65, or do not want an employment authorization, you do not have to pay any fee. However, you still have to fill out the I-765. Otherwise, if you want and you qualify for work authorization, the fee for the I-765 will be $340. Now let's talk about the biometrics or fingerprinting part of the application. The fee is $80 and it is required unless you are under 14. There's nothing to do with the initial application with regards to biometrics or fingerprinting, but if you are 14 or older, you will be called by your local USCIS office in for fingerprinting, and that's why you need to go ahead and submit the $80 along with the $340 and the $50 for the I-821 and the I-765. This means that for most applicants, the total amount of fees per applicant will be $470. You'll write a check or make a money order payable to the Department of Homeland Security for $470. Do not enclose fees for multiple applicants on one check. And let me explain why. If you have multiple applications in one envelope for multiple people, and you have only one check for all those applications, if one of those applications is rejected, then that application and the check for all the applications will be returned. That means that none of the applications will go through. If you have one check for each applicant, however, and one of those applications is rejected, just that rejected application and the associated check will be returned. All the others can still go through. Now let's talk about the supporting documentation that you'll need to submit with your TPS application. First, the documentation proving your identity and nationality. Primary evidence of your identity and nationality would be a valid passport, an expired passport, a national identity card, or a birth certificate. If there is no primary evidence of your identity and nationality available to you, then you may submit what they call secondary evidence. However, if you submit secondary evidence exclusively to prove your identity and nationality, you will be called in for an in-person interview at USCIS. So what is secondary evidence of your identity and nationality? Well, documents might include a baptismal certificate or affidavits from people who know you explaining exactly how they know you and how they know your identity and nationality. You must also submit proof of unsuccessful efforts to obtain the primary evidence of identity and nationality, which again would be your passport, national ID card, or birth certificate. And what sort of documents can you submit to prove residency and physical presence? Well, such documents could include things like rental receipts, utility bills, school records, hospital records, affidavits, and other proof such as bank, insurance, or license documents. And here are a few final tips on filing your TPS application. Of course, translate all documents into English, and on all translations you must attach a certificate of translation. A certificate of translation can be found on our website, strongvisa.com. You also want to keep copies of everything that you send to the government. When you mail or send your application to the government, I would recommend using Federal Express or some other courier service with delivery confirmation. If you need to use the United States Postal Service, send your application by certified mail, return receipt requested. If after you apply for TPS you are called in for an interview at USCIS, you need to follow the following tips. First of all, go early. Secondly, bring the original interview request from USCIS with you. Of course, always bring all your documentation and identification. What you cannot bring into your local USCIS office are phones, recording devices, cameras, garage door openers, beepers, or any other electronic device. If you bring any of these types of devices in with you, they will be taken away from you and you won't see them for a very long time, if ever. Also, water, food, and gum are not allowed at the USCIS office. For your interview at USCIS, you need to dress conservatively and neatly, as if you're going to court. Of course, you must be polite. Only answer the questions asked. Provide short, concise answers. If you can say, yes officer, no officer, those are good answers. If you don't know the answer to the question asked, say, I don't know. If you don't understand something, you must say so. If you need a translator, bring one with you. And of course, above all, don't lie. You don't want to be accused of committing immigration fraud somewhere later down the line. Well, congratulations on making it through this webcast. We wish you the best in applying for TPS status. My name is Susan Pye. I'm an immigration attorney located in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm authorized to practice in the United States and at all U.S. embassies and consulates. However, this presentation should not be construed as specific legal advice, as everyone's situation is unique. This is simply generalized information being provided to the public. Now, if you require a consultation with an attorney, we're happy to speak with you, and you can reach us at 904-240-4774. We're also available to speak with your church or group at no charge. Thank you, and please know that our thoughts and prayers are with every one of you, your loved ones, and your countrymen.